How's it going, Steeples? I am coming back from Guadalajara. I entered that battle horn. I got first place with Verdant, was able to secure a gold foil. In fact, I actually got two gold foils over the weekends. So I got a story time to share. So I want to give you guys my take on this weekend. But before we get into that, I do want to mention that I do have a Patreon. You might know me for limited advice. I do also give constructed advice as well. And I also offer coaching. So if you want some deck lists with some sideboard guides, or you want some personalized coaching, feel free to check that out and hit me up. Let's move on to Guadalajara. All right, I've never been to Mexico before. I was excited, nervous. The immigration, the U.S. immigration website said that this was a 3 of 4 on the danger scale. This area, I was like, man, that's like completely different than what I heard from some of my friends have been there who say it's like, oh, it's a lovely place, a great tourist place. And so I was like, oh, I was a little nervous, right? But I was like, you know what? Let's be like honest with ourselves. Philadelphia is probably at 3 or a 4 on the danger rating to other countries, right? Baltimore was like a 3 or a 4. So I was like, I definitely have been to more sketchier cities. Let's not let that get in our way. Let's go, right? It was a pretty cheap. It was very, very cheap. I got $200 tickets there and back. However, it was from Viva Airlines, which is like a Spirit Frontier tier, which is gonna come back to haunt us later. And I got the hotel. I got it for $50 a night. Now that might sound like a cheap, dinky, Motel 6 sort of hotel, except no. 50 USD a night is like a lot in pesos, right? For Mexican currency. And so, no, this hotel was not a cheap hotel. This hotel was a historical hotel. It was built in 1610. It was Hotel Francis. It was the hotel that was hosting the Battle Hardened event, and it was beautiful, guys. This hotel was so beautiful. It looked like it was built in 1610. They still kept all the aesthetics of that. It was very, very well done. Awesome. So the hotel part, amazing. The airline, not so much. Let's get into that. All right, but the whole trip was going to cost me $500, right? And I was like, $500 for an international trip for a weekend, not terrible, right? Could be better if I didn't have to fly, but not the worst thing ever. Honestly, really is not. And I get to go to another country. That's pretty cool. Okay, we get to the flight. The flight is the Viva airline flight, and the reviews aren't good. I checked out the reviews beforehand. Not good. But getting onto the plane, everything's good. Yeah, the seats feel like I'm sitting on Legos, whatever. I expect it, right? The plane gets out of the gate and kind of just sits on the tarmac, and it kind of just sits there. I'm like, okay. And it kind of just sits there. I'm like, okay. And it kind of just sat there for 5 fucking hours, man. For 5 hours we were out there. Everyone's upset. They're bringing in snacks, but these aren't free. So like you have to pay for food. They don't want to go back to the gate, because if they go back to the gate, they lose their spot in line, and that adds like another hour to an hour and a half. So it's like, oh my gosh, man. Like at that point, like they did put this on the announcement, because there was one guy. There's always one guy, right? Or like either one guy or one woman that's just like, and so they made this announcement basically for this one guy. It was like, hey, we can go back to the gate, but then everyone else who wants to stay on this flight is going to have to wait an hour and a half. So if you want to have that happen, just speak now. And the guy, wasn't an asshole, because that hurts everyone else. He recognized that. But it was such an asshole move of them. Like, just don't say anything. You know what I mean? But had he said yes, I would have got my ass off that plane. I was done, man. I was done. I didn't want to be on that plane any longer, and I was ready to just be like, fuck it. I'm just going to enjoy the weekend. I'm not even going to think about the money I lost. Fuck it. But he didn't, and we went to Guadalajara. It was very much late in the night when we got there, so I didn't get to do all the cool touristy stuff that I planned on doing, and that fucking sucked, because I didn't get to do any of it, man. But anyways, we got to Guadalajara. At least we get that. We are ultimately there to play at the Battle Hard. So it's like, okay, we're here and we're doing the thing we were here to do. All right, I go to the hotel again. Beautiful, loved it. I was enamored by the hotel. Um, Go to bed. Wake up next morning. It's the morning of the Battle Hard. I go downstairs a little bit early just to make sure I know where the place is. It's easy to find. And then I kind of just sit by myself because I came by myself. I couldn't get any of my teammates to go or any of my friends to go. So I just came by myself. So I was just kind of chilling. And I expected to kind of be a loner for about an hour because I've been to other countries by myself. I went to Taiwan by myself, and that's kind of how it was, right? However, the difference here is that people came up to me, and I'm kind of used to that just because, like, you know, people know SNEEP, right? But these people, I don't even know if they knew SNEEP. They just saw that I was kind of an outsider, you know, that I was clearly, you know, not from the area, and they just, you know, made an effort to make me feel welcome. The team of Mexico, the competitive team in Mexico, Chain Breakers, they were giving out these awesome not rum, tequila tokens, which is very, very cool. I think they look very, very nice. So we got some of them, they gave me some of these, and people were just coming up to just like ask for trays. Anyways, basically, like, people were making an effort to come up and talk to me. When that felt pretty cool. I felt very like I was starting to feel welcome. And this is going to be kind of a reoccurring theme because, throughout the weekend, I've learned that the Latin American people, because it wasn't just Mexicans there was people from Venezuela, Colombia, Argentina, Panama, Costa Rica. There's people everywhere. They were there, and they're very, very welcoming people. They're very, very friendly people. And so, I was starting to feel that, right? All right. Battle Hardened starts. Round 1, I get paired into a Syndra. Before, that felt like kind of a 45-55 matchup in Syndra's favor. So that was before this new meta, now that I have Light Up the Leaves. And so I played that match. I ended up going first. I was able to get some chip in arcane damage, and the game just kind of went through that tempo route. I was able to play out the fellings, keep disruption going, get my opponent low enough to where I just get him with arcane damage spell. And the game felt fairly good. The game felt like it went a little bit smoother than before. And, you know, maybe I just got a good game. Maybe I got a little lucky. I wasn't 100% sure yet. But this won't be my first and last Syndra. I do end up facing more Syndras, and my perspective starts to shift now. I kind of, at this point, I went from 45-55 to now I'm kind of 55-45, if I'm being honest. I think it might be more Vernon's favored nowadays. Okay. That's first round. I get the first round. Hey, starting off great. Love it. Second round, I go against a Slippy. It was a good matchup before Bonds. It's a greater matchup now. I play just in case they're trying to fatigue me, but they weren't, and I was able to just kind of get them down all the same. Use Storm Striders, get the kill. Cool. We got our Slippy game. Awesome. Next matchup, next round is a Victor. All right, so I had faced Victor in the past before Super Saiyan, before Garden Mastery Pack, and I used to use pots back then against Victor, and they just would come in with CS Beltings and just come in very strong with other big attacks, right? And they just like kept pressuring like 2 attacks a turn, surprisingly, and I just end up getting overwhelmed. And when I had pots that didn't block, I just ended up dying. So I thought this time around, okay, let me just go for that tempo game plan. I have evergreens in the deck, so if I need to like use evergreen to counter fatigue, I will. Well, as I mentioned, I hadn't faced Victor in a while, and I had to read a lot of these new cards. And these aren't new cards, but they were new to me because I hadn't seen a lot of these Garden Mastery Pack cards. And I had to learn what a lot of this stuff did and how Victor plays now, which is they're looking to fatigue me, right? He's playing Miller Grindstone. He's playing Arcanite Skullcap, so he can AB3 sometimes. It It was not good. I did have the evergreens, but when he's just destroying cards from the top of my deck with Miller Grandstone and like some of these other cards, it just no. I lost that game, and I felt like a fool. I felt like a little bit of a fool because I was like, damn, had I played pots, I would have had it. I felt like I would have done good. Like even if he like took a pot away or took a rampant growth away, I still think I get there. I still think I could definitely have gotten there. So I was like, damn. Because like honestly, going 5-0 into it, because it was 7 rounds. So going 5-0 feels so good because it's like I'm locked, I'm good, I'm fine. But now I'm no longer capable of being locked, right? Now I gotta win. I particularly have to win out. Maybe I could lose my last round and still make top 8. But I have to win out if I want to make top 8, which of course I want to make top 8. So yeah, first loss under my belt. Okay, next game, Basilio, a very cool guy from Venezuela. He's playing Basilio against me. Now this matchup, I have had a positive record to Basilio. I played a lot of good Basilio players. Alexander Vor is one of them, and so most of the times I've gone for fatigue. And in this case, it was no difference. I was able to fatigue them out. Basically, they didn't really set up for a long game. They were just kind of going for the most optimal damage lines. And I even used cards like Light Up the Leaves to discard to prevent 6 damage. So I was able to really keep my life total high enough so that whenever he was starting to only have 1 action point a turn, I was able to come in and deal more amount of damage. And so that game went in my favor. I was able to get there. I got to meet his friend as well, and who gave me this going in from Panama. See, like they're everywhere. These guys are coming from, and I think it's pretty cool. I actually like this, little Panama bridge there. I think it's dope. And so yeah, so I got to start to talk to some of these guys. Got to learn I really started to learn what the culture was. But yeah, let me shout out this guy. So his name was Nestor, and he was telling me how, like, he was basically kind of explaining him and his buddy. Actually, I don't remember his name. I'm so sorry. He was the guy that gave me this. I'm so sorry. I don't remember your name. But you're a very cool guy if you're watching this. But yeah, I got to learn kind of like the Latin America experience, basically. And from that, what I've gathered is like, there's a lot of passionate fans of Flesh and Blood in South America, Central America. There's a lot. Unfortunately, they are struggling to get LSS to recognize them, or like to get more stores. Like there's like distribution things. There's all these interactions that are just kind of preventing them from like growing to the size of the communities that are actually out there. So there's actually more fans and more players. I shouldn't even say fans, players. There's more players of this game in these countries than you would ever even expect, right? Like we don't ever see a nationals for Panama, right? Or Costa Rica or whatnot. But there are people out there, enough people that there could be a national. So they're working very hard. Like all these, these players from these countries are working very hard to try to get that for their communities. Like Mexico had to really, really, push hard to try to get this Battle Hardened. So I hope we see more of it because these are very passionate fans. These are people that love the game. And it's very cool to see that, part of the world where, as an American, I just see American stuff, right? But there's definitely more passion with these people. There definitely is. I think we're just spoiled with all the games that we have here that, we love this game. But, and some of us live for this game, but, it feels like, everyone kind of lives and loves this game. So, yeah, so I got to learn that, and that was very cool. I know that's a little side tangent, but I think that really portrays the experience. It really does. So I wanted to be sure to mention that. Okay, so that was round. What was that? That was round 5. All right, so we're 4-1. That's a good record. We still need to win the next one, and then maybe we can lose the last one and still get in, right? Or we just win out. That'd be a good strat. All right. The next round, I go against a guy named Fernando. I tried saying your name, Fernando, but I'm very bad at speaking Spanish. But I'll attempt it. I'm sorry if I messed this up. I want to say his name because his name comes up later on. Fernando Alcantara Sarmiento. I don't know if that's how it's pronounced. I know how to pronounce Fernando, so I'm just going to say Fernando. Anyways, so he's another Acilio player. And at this point, fatigue in Acilio has worked very well for me. So I go in with the mindset, let's fatigue Acilio. I start doing that, and I start noticing that he slows down a little bit. He's setting up. He's not just, sending the damage all the time. He's setting up. He's giving me chances to attack, and he's blocking. That's another thing. He's actually blocking. So he's setting up. He's blocking a little bit more. He's going for that, push and to keep that momentum. And that's exactly what happens. He gets the momentum. He keeps it. He push. He has gone to flash like it's a weapon, and he uses it 2 times a turn for the rest of the game. And it did get down to where he had like 8 cards left, but he got me. I could not fatigue him. I could not prevent enough damage. And I gained 9 life turn 0, by the way, which is insane. I thought I was for sure fatiguing him at that point, and he was able to get me. So a lot of respect to that. And at this point, after getting my second loss, I'm now 4-2. I feel like I'm out. There's one more round, but I feel like even if I win it, I'm out. I'll bubble, but I'm out. Played the last round. It's against a KO player. His name is Luis. We both just don't have very good hands in the beginning. I mean, he's still able to do KO things and put pressure on, but I drew 2 hands in a row where it was all blues, and I'm thinking damn it, am I really just going to go out with a loss? And I can't even say I bubbled this event. Am I really going to go 4-3? I really felt, I was like, I've never drawn so bad with this deck. I drew an all red hand, luckily it had E-Strike, and then 2 all blue hands after the fact. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm just, this feels so against me. However, somehow he was also not drawing the best. And so I was able to finally get good damage through, starting to get disruption. Bellings were coming down. Arcane damage was being sent. Oh, that was the other thing. I had to block with so much of my 6 arcane and had to pitch some of the other ones. And he was keeping track of it all. And so I had no way to send 9 at the very end. I had to send a good old mirror to Scolding at the very end to kill him instead. And yeah, so it was a little dicey, but luckily I only saw 1 Blood Rush Battle, which came after I hit with a felling. So it was only a 3-card Blood Rush Battle, which isn't the best, to be honest. And so I was able to get the game. And so I was like, okay, I ended strong. 5-2 is a good record. I'm not upset with that. That would be a day 2 of a calling type record. And I'll bubble. Okay. And I was telling everyone this, right? Because at this point, like I said, the community is very welcoming. So I'm able to talk to quite a bit of people. Also, I met, some of the guys like Johnny from Phoenix. We kind of got to meet each other. So a few of the Americans I've also been able to talk with as well. But I'm telling everyone, I'm bubbled. I'm 9th. I'm 10th. Maybe I'm 11 for 12. Maybe 8, but I highly doubt it. I tell my team this as well. I text them that. And one of my teammates, Jeremiah, he sends out the message with the standings, and it shows I'm 8th. And I'm like, oh. And this is before they announced the standings. I was like, oh my gosh, I think I got there then. Which feels so good because I get the suspense of naming from 1st to 8th, but I don't want to be waiting maybe it might. It felt so good just to know. And sure shit, when they made the announcement at 8th place, they call my name. So I barely squeak in, and I win this harpoon cannon playmat. So. Very cool playmat. I was very happy about that. I was happy I top 8'd it. I didn't think I was. So I was like, yeah, all right, cool, We take the picture, and we're heading back to do our rounds. And Evan Ford, who's the guy who got first, didn't lose a single game on the day. He turns around and says, it's the mirror. It's me and you in the mirror. I'm like, oh, fuck yeah. I love the mirror, all right? Oh, I just realized something. I missed a round. Let's talk about it. Okay, so what was this? This had to have been round 4. This is after I lost my Victor round. Yeah, I missed this round. This is a good one. I want to talk about this one. I face up against Brendan Patrick. It's a good player. It's a good player. He hadn't played a game in a minute, but when he did play the game, he was a good player. And now he's coming to do his story arc to prepare for Worlds. And this is the first tournament to do. He is also playing Verdance. I knew this because he made a post asking for Verdance cards. And so, all right, he's playing Verdance. Now, I want to mention this game because this is very important to, you know, how we're going to perceive all the other Verdance games. So when I play against Brendan, he is, he is playing with no pots. All right. He represents Waning Moon and Barkskins. I'm representing Surgent Aethertide and Alluvian Constellus. That's what we're representing. That's the difference among the decks, just from the armor layout. However, he's playing no pots. Instead, he's playing cards like Sow Tomorrow to get back the Light Up the Leaves. He's playing cards like Evergreen to, you know, keep looping, which I'm also playing, but, you know, still a good card. And he's also playing Remembrance to help bring back some of the big cards like Felling and Plowlanders and whatnot. So that's what he's playing. He's going for a more fatigue type route, where I am playing pots and going for the combo route. All right, so one thing that I can say after doing so much Verdance mirror testing, I did so much with some of the best Verdance players out there. Majin Bay is probably a name that you highly recognize. A few others like Austin Kim, Griffin Myers. We got Barrett or Vishra, you might know him as. Yeah, these are all very good Verdance players. We tested a shit ton for Nats, and we were able to figure out what we need to do in the mirror. Yeah, it's a totally different deck now. There's no plumes, but we still had a very good idea of what to do in the mirror, and I was able to apply this, right? And what we were able to recognize by all this testing is that pots always beats no pots, and that's exactly what happened here. Brendan Patrick is a very good player. He played very, very well. And I recognized this too because I knew that this game wasn't going to be won in the second cycle. It was going to have to be won in the third cycle because he was going to counter pitch stack to my pitch stack. And that's exactly what he did. So it was a very well played game. We went all the way to the last fucking minute, or like time ran out. We went all the way to the last turn. And even the turn before that, I had to crack 2 of my pots just to stay alive, so that I could do the combo with 2 pots and 3 rampants the next turn. And I did all that. It worked. I was alive. I was able to combo the kill. I was even able to keep a Light Up the Leaves. So, you know, I was active player. So turn 0, turn 1. So even if I didn't kill him, I could Stormshire's Light Up the Leaves. So I had the game. The game was definitely mine. But he made me fight for it. I could respect that. Obviously, he's a good player. So, you know, that worked out. But I was very happy I won that. Now, going on to top 8, right? We're getting a Verdance mirror. I'm stoked, right? Now, the reason why I'm stoked is because if Brendan Patrick is playing with no pots, he got that either from the Runaways, who they were doing no pots. I don't know if they're still doing no pots. I don't know. Or the card guys, which are actively doing no pots right now. And so this tends to be kind of what's being popularized out there, which I believe is very, 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 very wrong. Okay. And so I'm hoping this guy has no pots because it's basically a free win. You're going to work for it, but it's a free win if you work for it. Okay, so sit down, present the equipment. It's the same deal. I have Surgent and Alluvian Constellus. He has Waning Moon and Barkskin. Okay. You know, the first few turns, he chooses to go first. So I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. You know, that's what you do in the mirror. First few turns, he does just some things. I'm able to set up some pots. Okay. And then he plays a pot. And I'm like, uh-oh. Okay. So now I got to take this. Okay. We got to change our mindset here, right? We don't have to we're not playing for the third cycle. We're playing for the second because it's kind of who gets the combo first. Big difference is, though, we're playing different weapons. All right. The chest piece is different, and it does help me a little bit, but the weapons are bigger, right? Surgeon Aethertide has more of the explosion than Waning Moon, all right? I finally get a Rampant Growth. I'm able to pitch it for the Surgeon Aethertide so that, I can start getting my pitch stat going. The next turn, he pitches that Arcane Compliance to send in an attack, and I'm like, God damn it. Because what that means is that Evan Ford, good player, he knows how to counter pitch, right? What that means is that his Arcane Compliance is going to occur whenever I draw up my Rampant Growth. All right, not the worst thing, but not great, right? Just means that yeah. Anyways, okay, so we start playing out the games, and what happens is that he actually doesn't have great hands, and he's actually having to take damage, and he's actually taking a lot more damage than he really wants to. I know that because he's around like the 20s when the second cycle is starting to come up, right? And that's not good. That's not good because in the Verdance Mirror, pot v pot, you want to stay in the mid 30s or above because you can survive the combo turn generally, assuming it's only 2 Rampant Growths. And then you can still have a life buffer to present your own combo. But him being in the 20s means that it's going to be very, very hard to survive. You're going to need a lot of things to kind of add up. And so when we were both getting to our second cycle, he was just low enough, and my Rampant Growths were first, that I was able to do the combo. And despite him having Arcane Compliance, he was just way too low to not pitch the Arcane Compliance for AB, and I was able to get the game. So I was able to win the first round. That felt good. I felt good into the matchup. Realizing that we were both pots, I felt like that could have gone either way, but again, he just had a bad sequence of hands that had him just take too much damage. But yeah, okay, so now that round's over. Let's get into the next round. Syndra. Yeah, I gotta face the Syndra. There's 2 Florians in the top 8, and I couldn't face one of them. Nope, I have to face the Syndra. And it's one of the Chainbreaker guys, which, hey, credit to them. 4 of the top 8 people were Chainbreakers, right? They were practicing for this event. I practiced too, but they were, this was their event. So, and I don't know if he is the team captain, but he kind of gave me that feeling that he might have been. Let me give him a shout out here. Manuel. Yeah. Yep. So he came in with he came in with Syndra. I don't remember if he chose to go first or second. I don't quite remember on that, but we played the game. I was able to get a felling for 4, and kind of feels bad, but hey, it still does the thing. Had a block with another felling to send another felling for 8. It got to a point where we were basically playing the gameplay that I wanted. There was one turn where he had a pitch a red to send a dagger, which tells me cut through is coming. So I was able to go, shelter the storm on the dagger, and then be able to block with just a regular card and still have damage prevention for a flick. So that was pretty big, and it was the turn that took him off the gas and let me apply more gas. And at that point, it was more going in my favor. He had to take a little bit more risk to be able to push back in his favor, but by taking risks, he was going down to the single digits, which at this point is pretty scary just because now I have so many 6 arcane spells with that Waning Moon to come in for 9, and that's how we got there. So it was a well-fought game, but I was able to get there all the same. I'm starting to feel pretty good into the Syndra matchup at this point. All right, game's over. I look over to the other semifinal games, and it's a Florian versus the Acilio that I lost to. That is Fernando Cecilio, right? And I'm praying for the Florian to win, right? I haven't faced Florian all day. I love that matchup. Please let Florian win. I look at how Florian's playing. I just look at the game, and Florian survives the big combo turn and is playing very aggressively into the Acilio, and it's working. I'm starting to see it. I'm like, oh wow, like the Acilio player's gone down to like 4 health. I'm like, damn, like, hold on. Maybe the Florian does win this game. But the Florian went from playing very aggressive to when the Florian got down to like 7 health, he was starting to play very, very conservative. You know, just like keeping a card IPing himself to be able to prevent Arcane. And I think that cost him the game, honestly. I think him shifting to being very conservative made him lose the game out. So the Acilio player, unfortunately for me, won. So I had to face him again. All right, so let's get into the finals. All right, the last game of the Battle Hardened. I've made the finals, which means that I got a PTI. PTI secured. Mission accomplished. Got that PTI. Fuck yeah. And generally speaking, I'm feeling pretty good with that. I really am. Like, you know, I have it in my head. I'm very happy I got all the way to second. If I lose to this Cecile, no one's going to, blame me for that. Like, that is not typically a great matchup. So everyone would be like, yeah, I get it. That's fine. So I feel like, like it was only up from here. And I felt pretty good. And, I'm a little chatty bird. And we faced each other in the previous rounds, right? So I felt there was some familiarity there. So I make the joke like, hey, I was like, why'd you let the Florian lose? I wanted the free win. Just a little joke like that, right? And he said, I'm sorry, my friend, but I don't think you're going to win this. I think I'm going to win this. Or something along that line, like that. And it wasn't being a dick by any means. He had that confidence. He felt that momentum because when he won that Florian game, everyone was like, cheering for him and whatnot, which made me feel like, oh, I'm the bad guy. I'm the bad guy. No one wants me to win. I'm the foreigner. He's from Mexico. He's the local, right? I'm the foreigner. Everyone's like, this is their boy, so it's like, I'm the bad guy, right? So, he had that confidence, right? So, but when he said that though, it shifted for me. It shifted from being content, happy to play, gonna, still go for it, but to where I'm locked the fuck in. I am so locked in. It's not even funny. Like, I went through this day without eating anything. I had like a headache. I was a little lightheaded, and that went away. This might as well have been round 1 of the day with how locked in I was. And so when we started playing, I started seeing all the play patterns. Everything was clear as crystal, right? And I try to maintain that regardless, but like, I didn't have to work at it at all, right? I didn't have to say, okay, nope, let's make sure we're doing this. No, I was doing it. I was seeing everything. As I mentioned before, the Florian player was being very aggressive and it was working. So this time I applied that strat and it was working, right? I made sure that every attack I sent was like something like disruptive, like Command and Conquer. If he had a sigil conductivity out, I'd send Arcane so he got destroyed because I didn't want him to keep bringing that back. I was doing everything I could to just kind of disrupt this Gone in the Flash as your weapon game plan. And it worked. It worked. He did his combo turn. I had enough to survive. I was taking more damage, so I was, going low with him. However, I got to a point where he just sent a burn bear. I was able just to AB3, no problem. And then send E-strike into another attack, and just sending these attacks and forcing him to block, forcing him not to keep a 4-card hand against me. And yeah, got him low enough, killed him with a burn bear, I believe, won the game. It was awesome. It was so cool. Once I won, there was all this cheering going on. I felt like it was more cheering because it was such a good game. And it was. It was a back and forth game. It wasn't, no one got blown out. It was a very good game. And so, I was happy for that. And then it kind of hits me. The cheering kind of goes down and kind of hits me. And I just put my head in my hand. I'm like, oh my gosh. I finally, all this hard work and I finally did. And I think everyone kind of just felt that. And then another round of cheering. And this time I felt like it was for me. And it was so awesome. It was so awesome. I put my fist in the air. I was like, I did. Yeah. It felt amazing. And it was amazing. These people love to just love to celebrate. So many people came to shake my hand, people I hadn't even met before. And then, like, obviously, we are in Mexico. We are going to go drinking after this. So we did that, did some drinking. I got so many free beers and tequila shots, and oh man, it was so much fun. Everyone wanted to talk. It felt I felt like I was amongst the community. Like, I felt like I was one of them, and they treated me so awesome. And so I love the community that was there. Like, and like I said, everyone's coming from everywhere, right? We have so many people from so many different countries, and everyone's hanging out. Like, they're all from, like, like they're all locals. Like, they're all go to the same armories. So it was so cool. It was such a cool experience, and I highly recommend going to one of these Latin American, like, going to, like, a South American event. Like, Brazil's getting some. There's talks that Mexico might get some more. It was a blast. It was a blast. Like getting there sucked. The airline fucking sucked. Don't do Viva. But the people there are awesome. And so, yeah, let's talk about the gold foil, because I did get a gold foil this one. So I got the legendary. Now, full disclaimer, I did open this. How could I not, when everyone was, like, cheering and stuff? How could I not, right? So I did open it, but I still want to show you guys. So I got, with the Battle Hardened Victory, I got it. Which, if you watch my Tampa Bay video, the story time when I top 8'd Tampa Bay Calling, I got a gold foil Bart skin. So if I play Jarl, I can get a pretty blingy Jarl deck. But yeah, very, very happy about that one. And then, as I shown, I got another one. This was from the PQ Plus event. I'll talk about that in a bit. I also got, like, I want to, this is, Metal Fab, so I'm kind of shouting out my own product, but, kind of the tequila token deal. It's pretty cool. I like it. Anyways, but yeah, it was a blast, guys. I so recommend going. It was so much fun. It was so much fun. Those people are all so friendly. I have made friends that I'm going to talk to, in the future, like, outside of doing the Battle Hardened. Like, yeah, highly recommend it. I could not experience anything like that in the States. I'll tell you that much. Could not. So I did get this other gold foil. I did play the PQ Plus. I went undefeated that day. Played the same Verse deck, except I did change. I put erase faces because there was a shit ton of Syndras and a shit ton of Vasilios. So I took some cards out to play erase face on the second day. And went all the way undefeated. Evan Ford was, again, it was me and him in the finals this time, because he also went undefeated. And we agreed to do a split. He gets the PTI, says I already got one, and I get the gold foil. So I got this gold foil, which wasn't that good. It's just Galaxy Gold. I did open this one as well, because it was on stream, so that's why I got open. But yeah, Galaxy Gold was the gold foil for this one. But yeah, it's it's not as good as the gauntlets, obviously. Not the best, but hey, we got 2 gold foils on the weekend. We got PTI, we got $500, we got a cool play mat. It was a good weekend overall. So that's my Battle Hardened story. Now, if you're still watching, I'll give you this little quick story at the very end, because it's probably worth mentioning. As I said, going to Mexico sucked as far as the airline. Leaving Mexico sucked. Hated it. Because I give myself 3 hours to go from the hotel to the airport to my plane, right? 3 hours. We were in traffic for an hour and a half. Still got an hour and a half though, right? Not terrible. I still make my flight with that. Except my Uber driver, love him for this, decided enough's enough. I'm done being in traffic. And he's like, he takes the ramp. He takes the ramp, except the ramp is closed because of construction. But this guy says, fuck it, I'm doing it anyways. And yeah, we're speeding along until we hit a fucking track, like a digger. I don't know what they're called, but a tractor, right? We hit a construction vehicle. Like, hit it, right? I'm okay. We didn't hit it like that hard. Maybe jump and shit, right? But I'm okay. But it was like, what the fuck, man? And then because he went off to that ramp, there's a lot of other people that went behind him, like, oh, if he's doing it, I can do it, right? So they all went off, and so we caused another traffic, basically. And so we couldn't move. So I ended up just getting out of the Uber and having to go and walk 15 minutes to go to a spot where another Uber could pick me up, because we were in the fucking highway. So I couldn't have an Uber come to where I was. And basically, and then that Uber took him and we got back into the traffic. So basically, I missed my fucking flight. It fucking sucked, man. And so I had to buy another flight to go home. So yeah, getting to and from Mexico sucked ass, but again, Mexico was so cool that eventually I'm gonna forget all the bad times and remember all those good times. So, fly Aero Mexico, or like, you know, the Mexican airline. Don't fly Viva. That's all I gotta say on that. But yeah, again, if you want to learn how to play Burnance or even how to beat Burnance, be sure to check out my Patreon. But until then, guys, until next time, keep on fabbing.